Welcome back, where we talk about faith, life, and purpose. And today I'm going to be talking about holding on to the vision and dreams that God has shown you. I mentioned in one of my other videos that God speaks to us in many ways and will show us things through dreams or visions, or will even allow us to hear things spoken audibly in the spirit. And if you go to Jeremiah 29:11, it says, "For I know the thoughts that I think towards you, said the Lord, thoughts of peace and not of evil, to give you an expected end." And it even says in Jeremiah 33:3, "Call to me, and I will answer you, and I will show you great and mighty things which you know not." God's methods, sometimes it will defy human logic and the wisdom of this world. They'll sometimes view it as foolishness compared to God. So a lot of the things of God will not make sense to people in the world. I'll just put it like that. So a lot of the times the things that are shown won't make sense to us, because God won't disclose the full picture, which is why it's good to write your dreams, visions, and the things that you hear down, because it'll all make sense in the end. And another thing and I can't stress this enough, please don't tell anyone what God shows you. Wait until it has been fulfilled, and what God says, you can release the good news. Now, the reason I'm saying this is because everyone is not a believer of God. And like I said earlier, God's methods oftentimes can defy our human logic, and it'll seem foolishness to those in the world. And so with you running your mouth about things that God has shown you, when it hasn't even come into fruition, it can heap upon you a lot of unnecessary negative energy and spiritual warfare. And on the flip side of that, not everybody they're not even happy for you. And they could even be harboring jealousy and envy, and now you're wondering why you are experiencing blockages or your blessings are being held up. And let's think about the story of Joseph in the Bible. He's the perfect example. If you go to Genesis 37, I'm going to start at verse 4. And it says, "When his brothers saw that their father loved him more than any of them, they hated him and could not speak a kind word to him." Now, Joseph had a dream, and when he told it to his brothers, they hated him all the more. He had said to them, "Listen to this dream I had. We were binding sheaves of grain out in the field when suddenly my sheaf rose and stood upright, while your sheaves gathered around mine and bowed down to it." Now his brother said to him, "Do you intend to reign over us? Will you actually rule us?" And they hated him all the more because of his dream and what he had said. Then he had another dream, and he told it to his brothers and told them, "Listen," he said, "I had another dream, and this time the sun and moon and 11 stars were bowing down to me." Now, when he had told his father, his brothers, his father rebuked him and said, "What is this dream you had? Will your mother and I and your brothers actually come and bow down to the ground before you?" So we can see here that this is where jealousy and envy ruled in the hearts of Joseph's brothers against him. And on this particular day, the daddy sent the brothers out to tend the flock, and he later sent Joseph to go meet him and help them. So I'm going to pick back up at verse 17 through 20, and it says, "So Joseph went after his brothers and found them near Dothan. But they saw him in a distance, and before he even reached them, they plotted to kill him." "Here comes the dreamer," they said to each other. "Come now, let's kill him and throw him into one of the cisterns and say that a ferocious animal devoured him. Then we'll see what comes of his dreams." Here we go, y'all. You see now? Why you don't disclose what God shows you? Every person on the face of this earth has a purpose that God has already predestined for our lives. You know what God has shown you. You know that. Hold on to them until their appointed times that has been set by God to bring them to pass. And this is something that I'm learning every day, because I have been experiencing a lot of backlash, mocking, negative narratives put out about me, all because of my obedience when God says, be quiet. You don't have anything to prove. I will vindicate you. And that will always take precedence over pleasing people. A lot of people not going to understand the decisions you make. They might feel like what God tell you to do don't make sense, and oh, God ain't going to tell you to do that. You know, oh, God ain't showed you that. Or, you know, it's not going to make sense because it's not for them, it's for you. So once again, I love you. Stay encouraged and remember to hold on to God and the things that He has shown you. Because if you continue to stay aligned with Him and stay in obedience to Him, He will bring everything that He has shown you to pass, and it will make sense in the end. Until I put out another video, y'all stay blessed.